good people, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about basically what's going on in my life right now and how it's in shambles. So if you guys have been following along with the channel, you know that I posted a video now like probably 2 months ago about like leaving my job and my whole like moving and breakup and like shenanigans, and just kind of updating you guys on where I was at with that. And I just like was really having a hard time. This whole year has been really a shenanigan, one big giant like mess and like really stressful and really tough. But there's a lot of good as well, so I can't forget that. But like mainly within the last few months, it's been particularly tough, and I wanted to share with you guys because I think that's real and I think that's honest. And a lot of my videos are talking about like living your best life and stuff like that. And I always say how like I don't want to make it seem like everything's so easy and everything's always rainbows and butterflies, because it really isn't. And I'm in a time in my life where it really isn't rainbows and butterflies, and it's really tough. And I have had many a breakdown, and I kind of wanted to share with you guys that in a way that is real and authentic, just to show like a real and raw side of the ups and downs of life, and especially as a person dealing with mental health issues and stuff like that. So I had a really large life change when I stopped working at the company I was working at before. I like never say the name anymore because basically they were really super weird and annoying about the whole like NDA, like you cannot like speak our name thing. It was really, really weird. I mean, obviously I can speak the name, but in terms of saying anything about like what happened and stuff like that, they were really intense about it, which is, I'm not gonna, whatever. Anyway, it's, like I said, if you go back and watch that video, I was like really wary of like even kind of talking about my experience about leaving there. I talked about it a little bit in the last video, but I made an entire video when it first happened on like all the details, and I'm like, I want to post it so badly, but I also am like really nervous that like somehow, some way, they're like gonna figure out a way to like use it against me, even though I always say like I love the company and I always love the company, I still love the company, still love the product, I still like talk to my friends there and stuff like that. I don't know, I just like, it's really weird. I've never been in a situation like this before, so I just am trying to be like on the cautious side, but I digress. So that was a major life change, and I've never been in a situation before where I was unemployed, I guess technically, since like when I was in high school, I think almost every summer I worked. And I never worked while I was in high school, but I worked every summer, and I worked, well, okay, so I wasn't unemployed. It's different. Unemployment is different when you're not in school, I would say. So for me, I always had a job in between whatever I was doing. And after school, this is my first time being unemployed after school, like legitimately unemployed, not like just graduated, figuring it out. This is like, I've worked for 3 years now, and I'm actually unemployed and actually don't have a full-time job. I do nanny, so I don't, yeah, so at the point of this, at the point of the last update video, I didn't have a job at all, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. So I decided to pick up nannying just because that's something I've always done, and it's really lucrative, and I love kids, and I just needed something right away to bring some source of income, I guess you could say. So I'm nannying part-time, and I'm looking for another job on the side because, so I had this big push of like monetizing my YouTube channel. So essentially when, there was a point in my YouTube channel when I was just like making videos for fun and stuff like that for a while, I just became monetized, like I got to the point of whatever, like YouTube partner, and like you're able to just monetize, and so I just enabled it, and I was like working, I didn't like really think about it, I wasn't really like, I was just doing YouTube for fun. And then when I monetized, I got my first check, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can like actually, I knew I could make money off, I guess, I probably knew, I don't remember, but I just like, that wasn't a thing that I consciously thought of. And so when I started making money off of it, I was like, oh, this is cool. Then YouTube changed the rules, and then I got to demonetize in February. And so then I had to get up to 1,000 subscribers to get monetized again. And so I got up to 1,000 subscribers, and now I'm still in the queue for freaking, like approval or whatever it's called, process approval. Why can't I think of words? Essentially, they still have not approved my application. It's like so weird, because it's not like I have everything checked off except like I'm still in review or something. It's so weird. So I haven't actually been able to restart collecting money for YouTube again, because I'm just in this weird limbo. And it's like so weird because I assumed, because they said like a month or so, I would be approved by now. So anyway, that was my kind of like, that was what I was hoping to do as my like second source of income. Although obviously I'm still focusing on YouTube and content creation, and that's what I eventually want to be my like full-time gig. Or not even full-time, I don't know if I'll ever want it to be full-time. We'll see about that. But I really want to be able to focus on that and bring a source of income from that. So I can't right now. I can focus on it and stuff, and I've been trying to, but I haven't been able to obviously make money from it yet. So that's been like really stressful. So now I have to find a second job, and I mean, I've been looking for a while, and it's been really annoying and frustrating because I know people say, like I've always said myself, like you can always find an opportunity in New York City, and I do believe that, but I've been throwing so many things out there, I don't even know what the phrase is, but like nothing has been sticking essentially. I've had so many talks with so many different people, so many different companies, so many different opportunities, and then they all just fall through. And it's been really stressful because I do need a second source of income. So I fortunately have been collecting unemployment. So basically your employer has to approve the fact that you are unemployed, and through the state you can get like money. And my unemployment was supposed to be like, and I'm just gonna say it, and I'm just, because I don't really care and I want to be honest, it was supposed to be $450 per week, and it actually ended up being like $200 per week or something like that, and I didn't get it and start getting it until literally this month. Or yeah, so it's end of November, so literally this month. And so that has been hard because I was banking on that. There's just been so many things that have gone off the rails, and it's been so stressful financially. I think the main thing has been financial stress, because obviously I moved to my apartment, living on my own, right before I no longer had a full-time job and a substantial income. Sustainable? I don't know what word I'm trying to freaking think of here, but I'm stable. Stable income. And so it just really was insane, because I had just gone from paying like $900 a month, I think, in rent and having roommates, to paying $1,900. And so it was really, the whole thing was really stressful. I took a leap of faith with myself by just kind of like being like, hey, I'm gonna jump into this new place, and at the time I could afford it essentially. I was going to take on a second job just in general at that point, just because I knew with getting a new place that my means of life would have to change, because it was just significantly way more expensive than my lifestyle before. And I've always had like trouble with money and stuff like that, because have been good at managing it and stuff. I mean, I'll do a whole video on this at some point, but the moral of the story is it's been really, really tough. And I think that's like the biggest thing that has been weighing on me. And I always say, like, my mantra is like, the money will come, it always does. Because it's true, it always does. The money always comes, there's always some way to figure it out. But I think part of me, it was like suppressing like, okay, the money stressors, and then it would just come out, and I would just be like so stressed. I would just be like, just crying, or I just have like a breakdown, because I would just think about, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do next? So it's been really, really, really tough. And I think that's, yeah, like I said, I think that's probably the biggest thing. It took me actually a little bit of time to like realize that was probably the biggest stressor. Like, I would have days where I would just be so unmotivated and so like kind of like depressed. I would have a really hard time getting out of bed and doing anything. And I think a lot of it, and then I would have like a lot of underlying stress of like, when am I getting a job? Like, why is everything falling through? Like interviews and all this different stuff. And I think it all really, at the end of the day, tied into money, and it's really unfortunate. That's one of the biggest things that I hate about life, is that, or not life, but the societies particularly, is the dependency on money, and how if you don't have it, you essentially, or you don't have enough, you essentially can't live a meaningful life. Not a meaningful life, but you can only reach a certain threshold. So anyway, another thing that came along with that was that I didn't have health care. So, of course, I had to like figure out the New York State healthcare shenanigans, thanks to Obama. So when I was talking to my mom, when I was like, what do I do about healthcare? Like, can I still get in your plan and stuff like that? Because I was still 24, and the threshold was 26, and she was like, oh, let me check it out. And then I actually wasn't able to get on their healthcare, so I had to get my own. And she was like, yeah, you have to like sign up for Obamacare. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy and so funny, because I always like, obviously, knew about Obamacare, heard about it, all this different stuff, but I never had been personally affected by it, or really had known anyone that needed to like deal with it. So it was always just like one of those things where it's like, thanks Obamacare or whatever. Like I always heard about it, but I never really looked into it or really like thought about it too much. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is really funny because now I actually have to get Obamacare. So thankfully, I actually got healthcare through that, but it was a really long process. Like my healthcare benefits don't kick in until the 1st of December. And I've been not working full time since mid-September. So I haven't had healthcare this whole time. It's crazy to think about. But yeah, so that was another thing. And then so dealing with unemployment, dealing with healthcare, dealing with finding a second job, dealing with paying bills, dealing with mental health, like it all was just too much, and I would just really get so stressed and I would cry a lot. Like even the other day, literally yesterday, I was so down that I just had like a breakdown and just like be sobbing, and I just journaled and I just messaged my friends, and it was just really, really tough. And obviously I'm going through all this alone, and I have lots of friends and family that support me, of course, and they really are like my rock and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like I'm here living alone every single day in my apartment. As you guys probably have seen in my vlogs and my Instagram, I've been hanging out with Tom a lot, and I've been spending a lot of time with him, so I haven't been like super isolated in my apartment. But when I am, and it's really, really tough because it's just I'm sitting there with all my thoughts and all my stressors and everything that I have to go through, and it's really hard. And I mean, it's not like I said yesterday. I had a really tough day. Like everything hasn't settled down yet, and everything is still. I'm literally right now in the middle of like the middle of all of it. Thankfully, I did, like I said, get health care. I did figure out my unemployment, even though it's still not a lot of money and still not enough to survive off of. I did figure that out, so I'm getting a little extra money. I do have my nannying job, so I'm very thankful for a lot of the things that have calmed down, settled down, and been figured out, but a lot of it is still up in the air, and like I'm still trying to figure out what do I want to do as my second job. Like I've been applying everywhere just because I really need a second job, but I'm still figuring out like what do I want to do for that will make me happy. And it's like my biggest thing that I was excited about with the departure from my last job was that I would be able to live this lifestyle that I wanted of being remote and doing like multiple jobs, but also making like YouTube my main focus. And I was so excited for that freedom, and I was so excited to take on second and third jobs that were something that at least I was interested in, or at least gave me the flexibility to be remote. And now I feel like I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, well, I might as well just go back to getting a 9-to-5 job. Like in the back of my head, I keep thinking like, why don't I just go back to getting a 9-to-5 job? And so I'm really trying hard. I'm struggling with that because that's all about money. Like that's the only reason I would really go back to doing a 9-to-5 job would be because of the money, or because I found something I really loved and something that I just couldn't pass up. And obviously mental health has been a really tough thing. I've had to figure out without healthcare how to like do all my medicine shenanigans, because as you guys know, I struggle with anxiety and ADHD, and I do take medications for both of them, and they're expensive when you don't have healthcare, and so I just had to basically pay out of pocket and like all these different things. And I don't have a therapist, and I can't get a therapist. Thankfully now it's almost December 1st, so my healthcare will kick in and I can get a therapist through my healthcare. But before I didn't have a therapist. It was just like, you guys know if you watch my videos that I always am a big proponent of therapy. Like even when things are going great, I like to stay in my therapy. So anyway, that's been really tough. So I can go on and just like divulge every single thing that's stressful in my life, every single thing that is going on, which I essentially did for the most part. But there are other things, obviously. But I think my main point and the reason I wanted to like make this video is because I want to encourage all you guys out there, and also myself, to just remember that, yeah, like these are the times, these are the hurdles, these are the obstacles that we have to get over. And it's really hard when you're in the middle of it. When you're right there in the thick of it, it's really tough, and it feels inescapable. I don't know what the word is, but it feels like you'll never get out of it. But I'm trying to hold on to that light at the end of the tunnel. I am holding on to that light at the end of the tunnel. And even when I do have bad days, I try to like remind myself about the good things that are in my life and things I'm so fortunate for. And the fact that I have a roof over my head and I'm not struggling to survive, like I'm very blessed in that respect. So I don't know, I guess like this is just a stream of consciousness type of video, but I guess at the end of the day, and I keep saying I guess, and I know people are gonna comment on it and be like, oh my gosh, your voice is so annoying, oh my gosh, you say the same words over and over, because those are comments I get a lot. Which I already know that, like, I get it. But I think it's really important to always show the hard stuff too, and my channel is, I feel like a lot of it is just the good stuff. And my Instagram too, like I always try to post positive stuff, and I don't really go, I always like want to make posts about like when things are hard, and I always think of it, and I always want to like make videos and stuff, but I don't get the courage to, I guess. And sometimes I think like in the back of my mind, I like want things to be perfect and I want to appear perfect. Like it's not really conscious. It's not like I go out of my way. Like I feel like I'm a very authentic person, and it's hard for me to like fake it in a lot of ways. So I don't consciously like go out of my way to like make things look pretty and perfect when they're not. But I also think I don't show as much as I could when things aren't. And I think in the back of my head, like I'm always just like, I'm out here preaching positivity and living your best life and manifesting and living a life that's meaningful and a life that you love, and I'm not. So it feels false in that way. So I think like my head is like telling me like, okay, don't really show that stuff. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just not conscious, but I do still think it's there. When I psychoanalyze myself, and when I really sit down and think about, okay, what's going on in your brain, I think that's one of the things. I think that it's like, okay, you are putting this energy out there. You want people to feel these things, these great things, and live these lives that are amazing. So when you're not living a life that's amazing, you shouldn't show that. But that's not true, and that's not real, and I have to like get out of my head about that, and that's why I'm posting this video, because I think it's really important for people to know, like, I always say, I'm the struggle bus driver. Like, that's where I am right now in my life, and I can't wait until next month. Let's just say I'm gonna put that out there in the universe next month when I come back on here and like, guys, life update, everything's good and great. I mean, obviously, life is never, everything is good and great and perfect, but when things have calmed down and I feel more comfortable and confident and stable with where I'm at, I can't wait to share that with you guys too, because I know it will happen. It will, and I'll make it happen. I have to. That's what I always say to myself, and that's one thing I always realize, like, and I always try to stress to everyone. Take a minute when you're in the thick of it, when you're in this point like where I am, and remember, everything up until this point that you've gone through that's been hard, you've made it through, and this will be no different. You just have to mentally get through it, and you will. You always do, and you always will. So, I don't know, I just keep trying to tell myself that, and just remembering, like, I will get through this. And it's felt like forever that I've been on this, like, climbing up a mountain, like, and I'm still, like, I feel like I'm still, like, at the bottom of this freaking mountain. But it will all be good. It will work itself out, and I'm very blessed, and, you know, God, the universe, whomever, has really had my back, and my family and my friends, and I've been very fortunate in that aspect. And for all those out there who unfortunately don't have those same supports or don't feel they have the same supports, I want you to know that I'm here for you. Like, comment, you know, DM me on Instagram, comment on my videos, like in the comment section if you want to put yourself out, if you want to vent or you need support or whatever. That's all I want for anyone in life. And I mean, I hate to talk about, I'm not like a religious person exactly, but I do have like a belief in like God. I say like God and the universe kind of mixed together, I guess you could say. And I try to tell myself that even when like I feel like the darkest depths of hell that I'm going through, even when it feels like there's no one there for me, even when it feels like I'm all alone, I do have somebody watching over me and caring for me, and that's God. And you don't have to take it in a really strict religious way. For me, when people ask me about religion and stuff like that, and I know I'm going on a tangent, whatever, but I think about, like, my ideology is that God is love. So that's what I think of. I'm not thinking of it as like a man in the sky like telling me like directions or whatever, like that kind of thing. I think of it as a higher power, somebody who has created us, somebody who's given us life, and I don't even want to say somebody, something. And so when I say that as not strictly a religious thing, but just think of it as a force. Even if you think of it as your own self, being given some sort of energy, that is still, to me, that's still like God, and that's still a force that you have and you can count on, you can believe in, even when you're at your toughest time. So anyway, and if you don't believe in any of that, and if you're not spiritual and you don't sort of believe, you have me. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry that it was a total stream of consciousness. You know what? I'm not gonna say sorry. It was a total stream of consciousness, and I'm okay with that. Here I am, this is who I am, this is my life, and I hope you guys enjoy this and continue on this journey with me.